What's the story, Morning Glory? What's the word? Hummingbird. Thank you so much for clicking on my channel and for joining me for this review of 90 Day Fiance, Season 9, Episode 2, Home Sweet Hoax. So we start off with Bilal and Shaida. So as we know from the previous episode, Bilal wanted to basically like play a trick on Shaida so he can figure out whether or not Shaida is really into him for him or just into him for his money. So he doesn't want her to know right off the bat that he has a nice home and he's got nice cars. So he wants to show up at the airport in a like old beat up work van, and he's going to be taking her to his childhood home, which hasn't been lived in 15 years and needs a lot of work done inside and out. So he picks her from the airport, and first of all, they're really happy to see each other. When they see each other at the airport, she runs to him, she puts her arms and legs around him. She's just really happy to see him. So when they go outside to the parking lot to get in the car, the van was parked next to this black sedan. And so as he's approaching the van, she thought he was approaching the black sedan. And so she was like, "Isn't that your car?" And he's like, "No, it's going to be this van." So she's a little bit confused, a little bit like, "Okay, what's happening here? Why are you picking me up in a work van?" And she called the van a Scooby Doo van, a Scooby Doo van. She called the van like she said it was like a Sanford and Son van. So she was very confused about why he was driving around in this white work van. So when they go inside, he had put her luggage in the back, and she was like, "No, no, no, don't put my luggage in all that trash back there." And so she went ahead and decided to carry her own stuff in her lap because she didn't know what was going on in the back of that van. It was just a bunch of trash and debris and who knows what else. So they get to the home, and you can tell that she's trying to hide her disappointment when she sees the house. The house from the outside does look like a very much older home that needs like a touch up. But when they got inside the home, I thought it looked better than what I expected it to look. I thought it was going to be like a danger zone. Like you would have to wear a hard hat to be inside that home. But it ended up looking a lot better than what I thought it would look like. So it's very small. It's obviously very old. It does need some work done in there, especially on the ceilings. But for the most part, it just looked like a regular older home. It didn't shock me in any way. I wasn't like, "Oh my God, how can he take her there?" It was just like an older lived in type of home, which it is because it's a 15-year-old home. And this is the home that he grew up in the neighborhood that he grew up in. So at first, I thought that maybe her attitude had changed because she was significantly different in the home than when she was at the airport. So at the airport, she was really enthusiastic to see him. But now inside this house, it was like a shadow had just come over her. And I couldn't really gauge if it was because she was tired or if it was because she was really like disgusted by this house. I really couldn't figure it out in the beginning. He gives her a tour of the house, and when he said, "This is the master bedroom," I was expecting to see something that looked like a prison cell. But the master bedroom looked a lot nicer than what I expected it to look. Him and his sister did a good job in making this old, unlived in house look like a house that somebody lives in. So after all of that, they're sitting on the couch, they're having a conversation, and I don't quite remember what was said, but something was said where it made him say to her, some people don't even have a home. I forgot what she said to him that made him say that. But he was like, some people don't even have a home and you don't seem very appreciative. And she says, "But I am appreciative." And he was like, "You don't seem like it." And then he tells her, "I think you need to look up the definition of appreciative." And so that's when things were kind of turning, but I still wasn't sure if she was showing her true colors or if he was misunderstanding her. Maybe because she's tired, she's traveled such a long way. And when you travel as far as she's traveled, even if you go from one state to another, when you arrive, you just want to get comfortable. You want to get, cleaned up a little bit. You want to take a shower. You want to get rested. You're hungry. You're tired. So I really couldn't tell if that was what was happening or if she was really showing signs of not liking this house. So he tells her, he asks her if she wants something to eat. And then she says, yes, something from a clean bowl. And I was like, okay, so now the real Shaida has arrived. Because no matter how tired you are or how worn out you are, there's never a reason to be rude, especially when somebody is offering you food. So she was like, yeah, as long as it's in a clean bowl. And I was like, oh, no, ma'am. No, ma'am. But I was like, okay, so I see where this is going now. I see exactly where this is going. And before she even said that, she asked him if there were any rats in his kitchen. And he says to her, do I look like somebody who would have rats in their home? Because you do know, Shaida, I don't know, maybe she doesn't know, but Bilal is OCD. So he's very like into cleanliness and everything has to be organized and everything has to be in its right place. People like that don't live among rats. So he offers to order food and then she says, can you afford it? And I was like, okay. So it's got nothing to do with her being tired. She's just she's just being nasty now. She's being really, really nasty because she doesn't approve of this house. She didn't approve of that van. So now she's just, her true colors are really coming out now. And so in her confessional, she says that when Bilal visited her in Trinidad, she said that he had a Louis Vuitton luggage. He was dressed really nice. And she says that he should have told her how he lived so she would know how to move. And I'm thinking to myself, so how would you have moved? Like, what does that mean? How, he should have told you so that you would know how to move. Do you mean like if you would have known, like if he would have shown you pictures of the van and shown you pictures of the house, that you would not have come? You would have opted to not travel to the U.S. to be with him? So Bilal says in his confessional that the first night with Shaida was not going so well and he just wanted her to be happy to be with him. That's all he wanted. This was not a shack. This was not a trap house. This was not some tiny little small, little tiny efficiency. This was just a regular home that was a little bit older, that needed a couple of things done to it inside, maybe a whole lot of things done to it outside. But for the most part, if this was the actual home he lived in, I don't think that she should have been as disappointed as she appeared to be. And I agree with him. She should have just been happy to be with him, to be with her man, the man that she's going to marry. So then the food comes and they're sitting at the kitchen table and she says that she has sacrificed. She says, no, she started off by saying, we need to have a conversation because I see that you're all up in your feelings. So then she says, I sacrificed a lot to come here and I didn't know that I was going to have to come here and, start struggling all over again and start from scratch. And I'm thinking to myself, why do you think you have to start from scratch? He obviously has a job and he probably has a good job. Like, where do you see here that you have to start from scratch? Like, I really did not think this house was all that bad. Okay, because I was expecting a lot worse. I was expecting like wallpaper peeling from the walls. I was expecting dust everywhere. I was expecting like broken floorboards. They made the house, for it being 15 years old and not lived in, they made it look kind of sort of cute. So like I said, if this is the house that he really lived in, she should not have been this disappointed. So Shaida says in her confessional that if I have to live here for 90 days, it will be a struggle. I still love Bilal, but we have a lot of work to do as far as making the decision of getting married. So it's kind of like, maybe I misheard her, but it seems like she was kind of having second thoughts of going through with actually marrying him. And as they're having this conversation on the kitchen table, she tells him that she feels deceived. She says that, you showed up in Louis Vuitton and all of this other stuff, but you live in this dilapidated home. So she feels like, he was just putting up a front, that he probably lured her into his trap by making it seem like he had a lot of money, and she feels deceived. But I'm like, homegirl, you made the first move on him. You slid into his DMs. And in fact, in the beginning, according to Bilal, he tried to resist Shaida because her name sounded too similar to his ex-wife's name. But I guess she just kept on being persistent until he finally gave in. Now, I always thought from the very first episode that Shaida was only interested in him and only slid into his DMs because she thought he had money, that she was attracted by his wealth. That's why I felt like Shaida made that first move on him. So now that I've heard her say something about having a clean bowl and are there rats in his kitchen and how she feels so deceived by him, now I'm beginning to like, I'm more, it's like, it's solidified even more in me that she's with him. She was with him just for the money. So in his confessional, he says that with or without the material things and with or without the money, I'm still the same person that she said yes to when I proposed to her in Trinidad. So this is going to be really interesting to see what's going to happen here, especially when she goes to see his real house and sees his real cars. We'll see if her attitude changes or if she still has that stink attitude. Moving on to Emily and Kobe. So Emily is in her room with her sister and she's going through her lingerie. I guess she bought a whole bunch of new lingerie for Kobe's arrival. And for the most part, of this whole scene with Emily and Kobe, it seemed like Emily was just overly worried and overly anxious about, is he going to find me attractive? Do we still have chemistry? Is it going to be the same, when they finally sleep together? She was so focused on their physical attraction and physical interaction. I was like, do y'all have anything else going on in this relationship besides that? Is that the only thing that kept y'all together? Because if that's the only thing that kept y'all together, then girl, you might as well kiss this man goodbye because it's not going to work out. So her plan is to, because it's 2.5 hours from her house to the airport. So her plan is to get a hotel and stay overnight. So when she first arrives there into the city where the airport is at, she's going to meet up with her friend first for dinner. And then the next day she's going to go pick him up from the airport. So the night that she meets up with her friend Sean for dinner, she mentions something about how, she wants Sean to see if there's any red flags in Kobe. To kind of like give him a good look over to make sure that, he's really on the up and up. And then as they're having dinner, they talk about, well, what if it doesn't work out between her and Kobe? And she says that if it doesn't work out, she's gonna and her exact words were, if it doesn't work out between us, I'm gonna send him back. And the way she said that, once again, it didn't sit nice with me. It sounded like she was referring to some kind of a Amazon purchase or some type of a object, like something that she purchased. If she doesn't like it, she's gonna send it back. And I didn't like how she said that. She could have just said, if it doesn't work out between us, I guess you'll have to go back to Cameroon and we'll have to figure out how we're going to co-parent. Don't say, I'm going to send him back. That just sounded really awful to me. So the friend is kind of like apprehensive about this relationship, as all friends are in the 90-day franchise, because of the fact that everything moved too soon. They barely knew each other. Then she got pregnant and he says, Emily, I knew Emily was wild, but I didn't think she was this wild. So the next day she wakes up, she pumps, she gets ready. She's trying to figure out what to wear because she says she wants to look as close to the way she looked when they were in China. She has put on weight. I'm assuming mostly from, having a baby. She has put on weight, and so she wants to look as attractive and as sexy as possible. And I thought that the outfit that she picked out was really nice. She had on like a black dress that went just above her knee. She had on some knee-high boots and a jean jacket. I thought she looked really, really cute. So at the airport, as she's waiting for him, she's so super anxious that she starts to cry. And I'm like, why are you feeling all of this anxiousness and you're not feeling like happiness? Because everybody else was like super excited and happy to meet their significant other. She's the only one that's about to have a nervous breakdown. And I think it's because she was so consumed with, is he going to find me attractive? Is he going to find me attractive? Because it seems like their relationship was just based on physicality. So she's so anxious, she's crying, she's hyperventilating, she's having a breakdown. So finally he shows up and, they hug, they kiss, all of that. He seems really happy to see her. He also seems like a really nice guy. When they're talking in front of the producers ask him, so what do you think? And he says that he's so happy to see her because it's been 2 years since they last saw each other, but she has changed. She's gained weight. And then she kind of had that look on her face like, like a fear, like she was petrified. Okay, petrified that he said that he noticed that. It's like, okay, girl, he's making an observation. And I understand, like in American culture, you don't comment on someone's weight, especially a female. You don't comment on that unless you're saying that they're losing weight, and only if they're trying to lose weight or whatever. But you really don't comment on a female's weight at all. So that kind of took her, by surprise. But then again, in other cultures, maybe it's no big deal for a woman to gain, for anybody to gain weight, and to mention that someone has gained weight, lost weight, whatever. It's like no big deal. It's not insulting. It's not anything. So I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt that he was just making an observation and he didn't realize that there's like a cultural difference, and that he was basically, he doesn't understand yet that in America, you just don't talk about a woman's weight. So we'll give him a pass on that. And then he says, I just want her, and it's not about looks. Now, that was good. She felt a lot better when he said that he just wants to be with her. He doesn't care what she looks like. And I'm pretty sure that took off a lot of pressure from her. So she was worried for nothing, really. He's really excited and really, really, really looking forward to seeing his son. And she hasn't told him yet, at this point where we're at, she has not told him yet that he won't see his son until the next day, because she plans on them spending the night together at this hotel, and then they'll drive home the next day. So I don't know, in her mind, it's like no big deal. And in her mind, it was so much more important to see if they still had chemistry than it was for him to see his son. But I wish that she would have taken a moment to look at it from his point of view. The fact that, he wants to see his son. He wants to see his child. You've been showing him pictures and FaceTiming, this beautiful child for the past 2 years, making him all excited about seeing his boy. And then all of a sudden, you're just going to make him wait another 48 hours, another 24 hours, which is fine, girl. But you should have told him. Don't do all this secretive stuff. You should have just told him, hey, when I come pick you up, I got a hotel for us because it's going to be a long drive. So we're just going to stay in a hotel for the night. And then we'll go see, we'll meet my family, and you'll see your son the next day. Just communicate. Give him a heads up. Don't make the decision for him. So I hope that's going to work out for her. Moving on to Guillermo and Kara. Not much to say here. I don't want to spend too much time. Guillermo has some type of a complex, I think, about their age gap, because when she arrived in the Dominican Republic, he took her to go see one of her friends that she had met, I guess, in the DR when she was living there before. And then the brother came to join them for drinks. And so it's her, Guillermo, the friend, and the brother. They're all sitting around having drinks, having a good time. And then the conversation goes towards Guillermo moving to the U.S. And the brother was like, I'm really worried about Guillermo because I just want to make sure he's going to fit in with Kara's older friends. And Kara was like, yeah, he's going to fit in with my friends because he's got such a great personality. He's so open. He's so welcoming. There's no issues there. So then the conversation kind of turned towards, they were all kind of like poking fun at the fact that Guillermo was so much younger than Kara. And they kind of compared it to the swanky panky, which is like when a younger Latino or ethnic guy from another country gets involved with an older Western white woman, and he gets with her because he just wants papers, or he just wants money, like he wants her to be his sugar mama or something like that, or he just gets with her for a green card. So they're kind of comparing that relationship to Kara and Guillermo. And in Guillermo's confessional, he was like, you know what, I don't mind my brother poking fun at me about our age difference, but I don't want Kara poking fun at me for how young I am, because I'm her man and I need her to show me respect, and I need her to see me as, her man. So he's got some kind of a complex there about himself being so much younger than Kara. And I'm like, Kara loves you. She don't care about you being younger, older, whatever. The brother also did mention that it's normally the woman who's younger than the man. I'm like, okay, they're together. Let's get over that. It's not a big deal. I mean, she looks young enough and he looks old enough for them to be like the same age. And it's not like even like some huge age gap. I don't think it is. Is it 10 years? I don't even know, but it's nothing that crazy. It's not like your girl Eve and Muhammad. So the next morning, He has to say goodbye to his brother. He's very like, sad about leaving his family, the whole shebang. So they wake up, they go to the airport, they say their goodbyes, and then they're really worried about when they arrive in the United States if he's going to be able to, if they're going to allow him to enter because his passport is expired. But he does have special documents that should allow him to enter the United States. He does get detained for a couple of hours, but everything works out, and he is now in the United States, ready to start his new life with Kara. Moving on to Eve and Muhammad. Eve is 48, Muhammad is 25. Muhammad is currently living in Alexandria, Egypt, but he will be on his way to the United States because the K1 visa got approved. She's an acupuncturist and a massage therapist. She's also of Native American descent, specifically the Apache tribe. She's a single parent, and she has a son, a special needs son, who has autism, Down syndrome, and stage 2 kidney disease. So her hands are really full there. She separated from her son's father about 8 years ago, didn't really want to get into another relationship, never thought about getting married again until Muhammad slid into her DMs. So she took one look at him, his chiseled body, and that was it for her. She had to have him. So even though he's almost half her age, they're going to do this. They got engaged when she went to Egypt to go meet him. They got engaged. She applied for the K1 visa at the time. It took a while. It took about 2 years because of COVID, but he finally got approved. And so we see her in her home, and she's in her closet, and she's clearing out her closet of clothes that are probably deemed to be a little bit too provocative if she's going to be with someone who is a practicing Muslim. So her friend is like, so you have to get rid of your clothes, some of your clothes? And she's like, yeah, because I can't show legs and I can't show my arms. And so I have to get rid of a lot of stuff. And then her friend was like, oh, doesn't this mean like he's like really possessive of you? And I'm like, yeah, that's a stretch, because she's dating someone whose culture or whose religion has certain restrictions of how women should dress. All of a sudden this makes him possessive. He didn't make up this religion. This is not his idea. This is what's dictated in his religion or in his culture. So she's just trying to show respect for that. Now, she says she's not going to convert, but she will make changes to her lifestyle to show respect for Muhammad. And I kind of feel like, that when I don't know. So yeah, she's going to make changes in her lifestyle. So after that, she's hanging out with some of her besties, and these group of women, they know of Muhammad, but they don't have a lot of details about the relationship. So they are absolutely grilling her about this relationship. And so she's answering as many questions as she can. They asked her very personal questions like, was he a virgin when you went over there to Egypt? I think she said, yes, he was a virgin. But they took care of that expeditiously. He's no longer one. And she said that because they were so convinced that they were going to get married, they thought it was okay to kind of bend the rules of his religion, because his religion does not allow premarital relations. So I don't like that. Either you're going to follow the rules and bylaws of your religion, or you're not. I don't want you to pick and choose what you like and leave out what you don't like. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. That shows a lot about you as a person. Like you're touting this religion where you want your woman to like dress a certain way, give up alcohol, give up certain things in her life to accommodate this religion. But then you don't like the part about no premarital sex. So you're going to go ahead and scratch that out, and we're going to do what we want in that category. I don't like that. So, they talk about that, but she doesn't want to give too much detail about their intimate part of their life, because she wants to show respect to him because of his religion. I'm like, girl, you've already revealed a lot. The fact that you even talked about the fact that you have premarital relations, that's already like saying a whole lot. Don't hold back now. So she says that she doesn't have a problem changing her lifestyle, but she will not be converting. Her friends are very, of course, as all friends are in the 90-day franchise, they're very worried about her. They're very concerned that she's going to be losing herself in this relationship. She's going to forget who she is. She's going to forget her individuality. One of her friends was talking about how, Eve is very fun and outgoing and vivacious. And so she's going to, I hope she doesn't change because she's going to be with this guy. Look, y'all, Eve is going to do whatever the hell she wants to do, as they all do 90 Day Fiance. It doesn't matter how jacked up, it doesn't matter how many red flags are thrown in their face. They're going to do what they're going to do. Just support your damn friend and let her find her own way through this crazy relationship with this 25-year-old kid. Moving on to Jabri and Mayona. So Jabri is getting ready to go pick up Mayona from the airport. She will be arriving. First, we get to meet his friend David. So David doesn't see it for Mayona at all. He thinks that Mayona is using Jabri for a green card, and he thinks that Mayona has got Jabri completely possessed somehow or another, because he's no longer really focused on the band and getting the band back together after COVID completely tore them apart. And so he wants to get back into the music. He wants to get back into the band and traveling and all of that. And he's so focused on Mayona that the band has been like secondary in his life, where before it was, priority number one. So that's why David doesn't really see it from Mayona. So he's getting ready for Mayona's arrival. He's purchased an actual literal red carpet that he's going to roll out for her at the airport. He purchased a pair of pink cowboy boots and a cowgirl hat. Doesn't Mayona seem like someone who would wear cowboy boots and a cowgirl hat? So as he's getting ready to leave, he rips his pants. He was like squatting, and the pants completely ripped on, like, in the crotch area and like in between his thighs, completely ripped. And I thought, he would have done what any sensible person would do, which is to go change. But no, he didn't do that. He was going to roll with the hole in his pants. So he gets to the airport. He lays out the red carpet for her. Of course, people are walking over it, and she finally arrives, and they hug, they kiss, the whole greeting thing. And then they're standing side by side, and they're talking to the producer, and he's saying that he's going to have to figure out, the location for their wedding, the location for where they're going to live, and he's going to have to figure out how to pay for all of this. And she's just standing there next to him, the look on her face like, yeah, you're going to have to do all of that to give me what I want. And so Mayona says that, she's always seen America as like the land of opportunity, make your dreams come true over here, the chance to do whatever you want, be whoever you want to be. But for sure, if one thing for sure and two things for certain, Mayona will be living in LA one way or another, with or without Jabri. So she says that if he cannot move her to LA quickly and expeditiously, that she'd rather go back to Serbia than to stay here with Jabri. That's so obvious that she's not really here for him. Like, why would you leave your man, your fiance, your husband to be, because y'all can't live in a particular city? And Jabri never said that they couldn't live in LA. He was just like, it's going to take time. I'm pretty sure Jabri himself would love to live in LA. He just says that it's going to take time. You just got to have to save up the money, get all this stuff together. It's not going to be done overnight. But she wants to move to LA like yesterday. Like, she wants to arrive, okay, maybe go say hi to his mom and then get on another plane and go to LA. That's what she wants. So we'll see how they're going to navigate this and how this is going to work out, and whether or not she's going to end up going back to Serbia. That was a lot. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you so much for making it through. If you did make it through to the end, I really do appreciate it. On your way out, please don't forget to rate the video. Please don't forget to subscribe, and I will definitely talk to you later. Bye.